Our money and our wallet is our power. All right, hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fanta. I'm a second year ICOL student, and I want to bring up the topic about overconsumption and how Eid and Ramadan teaches us through that. But unfortunately, we observe like Ramadan iftar events and Ramadan events where we have gatherings, but we often forget about how much is spent on that gathering and how much we put into that and how much energy and commitment we pour into these events, because most of the time people don't notice that there is a whole group of committee members struggling to make sure everyone enjoys this moment. Instead, it turns into something that falls into less appreciating these intimate moments, instead turning into like a moment where we can gather knowing that everything is in moderation, but often it isn't. Often we spend a lot of things on single-use products. We use a lot of plastic waste. We tend to clean up after events knowing that these spaces tend to be left not taken care of, even though there's so much love and commitment put in onto these events where we hold like khutbah talks, we held like talks about each surah, or analyzing whether it's in a halakha group or whether it's in a dawah group. It depends on wherever we're in Ramadan. We tend to forget to appreciate these moments. And most of the time I experience moments where I leave an event and there's a lot of food waste and there's a lot of plastic waste, and I notice like we tend to leave it in a horrible manner. We tend to not give grace to these moments, and this makes Ramadan fall into a cycle of making it into like a capitalist holiday when it isn't supposed to be that. Ramadan is literally the complete opposite of capitalism and how we function in this society, whether it comes in terms of being a consumer or a seller. And us consumers, as students, we tend to forget that our money and our wallet is our power. So the more we use it without intentions, the more it turns into something materialistic instead of something having meaning. When it comes to gatherings that mean so much to us, and especially for international students, this means some sort of closeness to something that is similar to home, but it might not be home. These events mean so much more if we put full intentional meanings into how we end off these events. So usually we would start an event with reciting Surah Al-Fatiha. We would leave with Surah Al-Asr, right? But we don't leave with the proper intention of taking care of the spaces we go invited in, you know? So this is why I want to address how capitalism can feed into our events and how we think more about the materialistic side instead of the intimate sides of gatherings. And this can sometimes break the moments for us, since everything is a core moment, especially Ramadan only happens once in a year. It's more of like a core memory than something we pass by like the daily weeks or the daily prayers. You don't get to do Taraweeh like every day in a year, like you do it once a month in a year. Every day it's voluntarily, just like how we don't get to have iftar with everyone every year. Like we always remind people that Ramadan changes the world every year. Like every year we might not be spending Ramadan with the people we spent with this year, and we tend to brush it off and call them events when actually we should just be making events with more meanings, more sustainable ways of figuring out how to end off events, especially when it comes to Raya and how we expect to get a new item every Raya, which can become too overwhelming for us planning, scheduling, when we can look at different options. Like we can look at traditional ways of making our clothes. Maybe we can do it handmade, maybe we can go upcycle, maybe we can thrift, maybe we can go to like open street thrift buy-offs. Like one example is Jalan Dalam Negara Kita next to Taman Malawati Mall. There's this place and really nice artistic space where they have open drives for clothes. They have thrifting open drives where you can find out good finds for half the price. And I think that would be amazing for people to find community in those type of spaces, especially when it comes to like religious events or religious practices. When it comes to fasting, you can find a way to put meaning into what you're doing instead of making it like a perfect event, when actually we should be doing things in moderation. I believe that there's more love in something that is handmade with love instead of something that is bought. Maybe it's too expensive for our students. Maybe we can't afford a new Raya outfit, you know? So this is what I want to highlight, is that we've been too fed into over consuming and overbuying stuff that we might not need. Maybe there's like a bunch of Raya clothes that you haven't touched in like 4 or 5 years, you know? I feel like students should have more grace and more gratefulness, because most of the time students are not aware that everything isn't granted for us, especially if you traveled all the way here to study. Everything is not for granted, and family means so much to us, but gatherings with much more love means 10 times more experience that might even last a bigger impact than an event that is just fueled for publicity and looks.